Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we've got this really interesting note. It's from Antonio Carlos Schuler, and it lists these free E shortwave stations in Brazil.
Right. Free E, in quotes. That's the immediate question, isn't it?
Exactly. What does that mean? Unlicensed, independent, something else. Our mission today is basically to unpack this list and figure out, well, what are these stations?
And can we even verify them? It's like, have you ever just stumbled across a weird signal on the dial, late at night?
Totally. And you wonder, what is that? This list feels a bit like a map to some of those mysteries.
Yeah, it really does. So that term free E radio, in the shortwave context, it could suggest stations operating, let's say, outside the usual government licensing.
Okay.
Or maybe it's about the content, like uncensored viewpoints, or maybe just community radio, hobbyists even. Shortwave's always been a bit of a Wild West.
That makes sense. Accessible tech, relatively speaking. Sure. So let's run through the list quickly. We've got Scala on 610 and 135 kilohertz. Sure. Saturno at 6150. Ancora, 6200 kilohertz.
Yeah.
Then Imexi Chinha, 72550.
Interesting names, too.
Yeah. KCAM at 8000 kilohertz AM. Probably just amplitude modulation, right?
Almost certainly, yeah. Standard for that kind of broadcasting.
Then Araucaria at 9290, GLAB at 9970, OnDA SE Air 111840.
Higher frequencies there, getting into different propagation conditions.
Right. Transglobe at 12015, and the highest one listed is MDIL at 1625 kilohertz.
Wow, that's quite a range. It covers several international broadcast bands.
It really does. But here's the kicker. The note itself says, Vejamos o realmente existem as frecuencias se confirman.
So see if they really exist and if the frequencies match.
Exactly. So this isn't presented as like gospel truth. It's more exploratory.
It's an invitation, really, a challenge almost, like, I heard these or someone heard these, can you confirm? It tells you about the community.
What community is that?
Well, think about it. Someone took the time to log these, note the frequencies, and share it. That points to dedicated listeners.
Okay, yeah. And the sign-off kind of confirms that, doesn't it? Despedir con 73 para todos los DXistas.
Precisely. So 73 classic ham radio shortwave listener code for best regards.
Right.
And DXers, well, that's DXers, people who specifically hunt for distant or difficult to receive signals.
So this note comes from within that world.
Absolutely. It frames the whole list, suggesting these free E-stations might be the kind of unusual, perhaps non-mainstream signals that DXers love to find. Maybe they represent something, unfiltered.
It makes you wonder about the timing, too. This note was shared April 20th, 20. Well, at a specific point in time, these things can be ephemeral.
Very true. Shortwave stations, especially pirates or unlicensed ones, can pop up and disappear. Frequencies change, so verification is key.
Okay, so let's boil down the takeaways here. First, this is a snapshot, a potential window into Brazilian shortwave activity at one time.
Yep, a snapshot, not a guarantee.
Second, the big question mark is verification. Do they exist? Are the frequencies right? It's still open.
Definitely an open question, an invitation for listeners, really.
And third, the way it's signed off with 73 and DXistas, it firmly roots this in that dedicated community of shortwave enthusiasts.
It shows there's a passionate group out there listening, logging, and sharing this kind of intel.
So thinking about the listener, what kinds of things might you actually hear if you tuned into these frequencies, assuming they're still there?
That's the exciting part, isn't it? Could be music, local news, maybe political commentary, religious broadcasts, or something completely unexpected, maybe just static now.
Right. But the possibility is intriguing. Could this list be like a jumping off point for your own shortwave exploration?
Absolutely. Maybe you, listening right now, could be the one to tune in 635 kilohertz and find Scala, or confirm another one. It's a chance to be part of that DXista's discovery process. What broadcasts are hiding out there waiting to be found?